Why?
Because you don't need 2 jackets on. Aren't you warm?
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Grandma.
All right, so welcome back to the. Hold on.
What?
Nothing. Welcome back. This is the first video that my daughter Rowan will be in. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Can you wave? So one of the tricks that I use when I do her hair is definitely, there's a couple apps on my phone that I use that she'll be playing with while I do this. And I started doing her hair when she was, like I said, like 8 or 10 months old, and so we've really gotten into a routine. So when we first started, she could only sit for a few minutes, and obviously at that point I wasn't letting her play with my phone, but now she'll sit, if I do beads, sometimes it can take like an hour. So I figured that I had to do her hair today, so I would record it. So this is her hair after a few days of sitting in these braids that I did. So I'm going to take them out real quick and then show you what I do to do a refresh. Okay, so when I'm taking out braids, I like to put a little bit of oil in my hair. I'm going to be using this jojoba oil, and that just gives it some slip. Since her hair is so dry and needs some moisture, it gives her hair some slip while I'm taking out the braids, so there's no breakage, things like that. I just rub it in my hands, and then find the braid and just slowly take it out. Again, I don't rush this process because, her hair is pretty dry at this point. It does need some moisture. And so if you really try to just take it out quickly or tug at it, that's when you're going to get breakage and split ends and kind of damage some of the hair. All right. So now that those are taken out, I'm going to take one of the towels. I put this at the base of her neck so that when I get it wet, it doesn't get the rest of her clothes wet. I always have this one by my side so that I can wipe my hands on it or wipe it on this in between products. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to section off her hair. And so I typically section off into, right now, 3 sections. And so I'll section off the top first, and then I'll focus on the bottom. And then once I'm done with that, I'll section off the top and I'll split it in half. Okay. So I got my spray bottle, and I'm just gonna get her hair. I gotta get her hair really wet because she has low porosity hair, so in order for it to absorb the moisture, it needs to be soaking wet. So the product I'm going to start using today is this leave-in conditioner. I really like this one. It smells good. Her hair really absorbs it. I really like the Shea Moisture lines. They come at a decent price, and her hair really, really likes it. So I just start by taking about, a $50 size, and I rub it in my hands, and then I just start to rub it into her hair like this. And so I take smaller sections and I just really rub it on, making sure that all strands all the strands get it. So you'll see that there's a little bit of a knot right here, and I kind of take my time breaking that apart. Really get some moisture on it, because the product is also going to create some slip, so that the knots kind of loosen. And so you'll see I just kind of go like this slowly, see if that works. Really get it on each of the strands. And so I kind of work my way from the side of her head all the way over. And you'll really feel the difference when the hair has really absorbed the moisture. You could just feel that it's flatter and that it's really started to soak in. I start with the ends because they get the driest, and then I work my way up closer to the scalp to try to get as much volume as I can. I try not to put a lot of product at the roots, but it still needs moisture too. You know, I notice at the back of her neck, or the back of her head, like right in this area, takes the most time to detangle, because that's where she sleeps. You know, when she's rolling around on the ground, it seems like that gets the roughest out of all the areas. So you'll see there's a little knot right here. What are you doing? Come here. So I try to get some moisture onto it, get some slip, and then slowly start to break it apart. I try to find any hairs that aren't tangled in there and separate them, so you can really get down to the part where the knot really is. What are you doing?
I'm trying to.
Hold on. We already have that. Oh, hit open. You know, and sometimes there are knots.
I want this one. I want the baby one.
Sometimes there's knots that just aren't gonna untangle, and you just have to kind of cut them out. But I have found that cutting them out works better than ripping them out, because then you're damaging a lot of hair instead of just cutting out the part that needs to get cut out. So I did those braids in her hair. What's today? Sunday? I did them Thursday night. So I haven't really put a lot into her hair since then. So days like today, I know are going to take a little bit longer, just because I haven't really touched her hair in a couple days. And so I really set aside some time to just really detangle it, because then it will just help out the rest of the week, getting it really detangled today. Most times on Sundays I do a deep condition during the day, but today's Super Bowl Sunday. I just deep conditioned a couple days ago, and so today we're just detangling with the leave-in, and then we're gonna add some other products to it. So if when you get over to this side, if it's isn't as wet as you want it to be, then you can re-wet it. So that's what I'm gonna do. You know, because it's taken a few minutes to get from one side of the hair to the other, so I just re-wet it a little bit, because again, her hair, when it gets wet, it tends to open up the cuticles and really allows her hair to absorb the moisture. Again, she has low porosity hair, so we have to get the cuticles opened up for it to take in what product you're gonna put on it. So this process has taken me a long time to get here and get the feeling of it, and I've done a ton of, you know, research and watched a lot of YouTube videos on her hair type. And, you know, like the product I'm going to mention today, they work right now, but they didn't, you know, they might not work for me at other times throughout the year. Like we live in upstate New York, so the summers, her hair doesn't get that dry, but in the winter it needs a lot more moisture, and I need to pay closer attention to it. But in the summer, you know, we're in the pool, so I have to make sure to cleanse her hair from the chlorine in the water, things like that. So, you know, things that work right now didn't work this time last year, or, you know, 6 months from now, and I like to try different products and different techniques and things like that, and so that's what I suggest you doing. So then once I get through this whole section, I'll just kind of take it and run my hands through it a couple more times. Make sure there's no tangles. Really make sure every strand of hair got product on it. So then what I do is I take this section and I just do like a simple braid. It kind of helps keep it out of the way while I'm doing the other sections, and I know other hair from this section won't get brought up into when I'm doing the other sections. So it's just a simple, quick, easy braid. So then what I like to do is I like to take the top and I section out each side. Sorry, hold on. So then I'll just take some more leave-in conditioner and just kind of rake it through. So just take a section and then same thing, I just kind of smooth it through, getting it to absorb the moisture and then making sure there's no tangles. Again, on the day-to-day, it doesn't take this long. I just haven't done it in a couple days because I had it in the braids. And then I just threw it in the bun. So it hasn't seen moisture in a couple days, which is why it's taking a little bit longer and I'm using some extra care with it. So I'd love to hear what are some of your favorite products you're really enjoying right now, some styles that you want to see, you know, any questions that you guys have for me, maybe about Rowan, about how I got started, about, you know, anything. Let me know what you guys think.
Who are you talking to?
The camera.
Why?
Because it's a video. So the camera decided to stop recording, so I'm gonna go through the last couple of minutes of what I talked about, so you guys can see. This is kind of where we are. I scrunched it once I got the product on everywhere. I don't know if I caught it or not, but this is the cream that I put on after the leave-in conditioner, and then I scrunched it, and so now I'm going to do what's called a wet plop. So I just have a little rubber band, and what the wet plop does is it allows for the hair that's closest to her scalp to kind of not be weighed down by the rest of this hair. And so as it dries, it doesn't have the weight of this hair, and so it can really get a nice curl. We don't, if it's like a school day or she's going to bed, I don't do this, but we have some time today. And so that just gives kind of some extra volume because the hair closest to her scalp isn't gonna be as flat, it's gonna have some curl to it. So while I'm letting it air dry, I'm just gonna put it in the satin bonnet so it kind of keeps everything together. This is what she wears to bed every night. But what the satin does is it protects so that her hair doesn't rub up against, you know, her pillow and things like, or her sheet, and that creates frizz. So she's been wearing a satin bonnet for, I don't know, 2 years now. So we're going to let this air dry for a little while, and then we'll come back once it's dry, and so you guys can see the final product. Say hi to the camera again.
Hi.
We're back.
We're back.
What do you want? Hair?
No. What?
You want her hair?
No.
What do you want to do?
The baby one.
I don't know what baby one you're talking about.
Like the.
Okay, so we're back. So, you probably can't tell, but her hair is not all the way dry. It's been, what, 2 hours? Yeah, so it's been about 2 hours, so it's drier, and you can see, obviously, see how much it's curled, but we do have to leave soon, so I wanted to come back and give you guys a quick update. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in a little bow. Ugh. And all that's going to do is just keep it out of her face. So as you can see, it's shrunk up quite a bit. There's not a ton of volume. I try not to play with it too much when it's this kind of wet, or else you will create frizz. Oh, sorry. Okay. But you know, when it's completely dry, you can kind of go in, separate some of the curls. So you take some. This one is kind of, it's 3, but it's kind of clumped up. So you take them out and you separate them, creating a little bit more volume. Again, I don't want to play with it too much because it's still kind of wet, but it will curl even more and become more defined as it gets drier. So I will, it's a habit to just play with her hair if it's in front of me.